Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Aaron, and this might be the most frustrated I have ever gotten on Skull and Bones. If anyone has had this happen to them, let me know down below. However, cutscenes are a major issue, and it's the cutscenes that are actually forced on you, not the cutscenes that you enter. For example, I enter a cutscene by entering into the plunder. That's fine. I entered the cutscene, I knew the risk, that's fine. But it's the cutscene near the end of the plunder, or at the end of the plunder, that really annoyed me, and I almost threw my controller. You're going to see at the end of the video why, and let me know if it has happened to you. However, in this video, I want to talk Tier 2. Now, Tier 2 has only been out this season, probably 3 weeks, maybe, if that. And I don't expect it to be perfect. It definitely has its issues. But one thing that I don't understand is the devs originally said when we were asking for large ships that they don't want large ships to come out and be the ship that everyone uses. They want to see variety in the medium ships. They want people to still use the medium ships. And they want people to still use the smaller ships, which is why I believe that the large ship that will come in Season 4 will have a way to drop a dough or a dhow, however you pronounce it. If you want to go hunting, that ship can actually drop the dhow. That's what I heard, but we'll have to see what happens with that. Now, to talk about Tier 2, I enjoy using the snow build. The snow build really shines in this mode. The bracing is amazing. You definitely need to brace some of this stuff. Now, I don't expect Tier 2 to be easy, especially with the Mega Fort. The Mega Fort's the hardest fort on the game. It shouldn't be easy. I understand that. However, if devs want to see more variety in terms of when large ships come out next season and they want to see people using medium ships, you have got to make Tier 2 medium ship friendly. Because in terms of the DPS ships, now I'm using the schooner build in this video that I uploaded yesterday. Check the description for that. And the damage is absolutely amazing. The survivability, though, is something of a concern. And this is the same with all DPS ships. So you have these ships called sharpshooters, which are usually about level 17, and they're usually quite small. They're definitely a medium to small ship, and you will see them as we go through this battle. These sharpshooters can literally one-shot a DPS ship. And if you are bracing their shot, your brace will go and they will still take some of your health with it. Sharpshooters are absolutely unreal and way overpowered. That's not my only issue. The Lepest ships are a major problem. That's why no one wants to do Grand Fort, is because the Lepest minions spawn and they've got this like minigun of a mortar that never stops firing. Once you accidentally sail into the poison, because it can be quite slow to avoid poisons, especially at the rate that this poison is fired. Once you are in that poison, it basically two-ticks you, maybe 3 or 4 if you're in a tank. Tier 2 is not built for the medium DPS ships. Now, the healers that are at Megafort are the absolute MVPs. I absolutely love when I see healers at the Megafort because it does make DPS ships much more viable. However, that doesn't mean that the DPS ships still can't get one shot, especially by sharpshooters, especially if you've got no brace left. On top of that, you have some of these level 20 ships, and the ones specifically, the armor-plated ones, take so long to kill. I've had 10 people shooting this thing, and it stood for about 2 minutes straight. 2 minutes for 10 people to take out one ship that is not a boss ship just seems absolutely unreal. Even if you are not hitting the armor plates and you are hitting the front and the back, it should not be standing that long, in my opinion. I don't mind the fact that some ships are hard to kill. In fact, having a challenge is always welcome, but there's a difference between challenge and then just complete and utter tediousness. The Megafort is a challenge in itself because you have to take down all the defenses or avoid them. And if you are in a DPS ship and you get hit by one of them defenses, you are sank. it will one-shot you, especially the cannons that are on the other side of the lower walls. Them cannons, if they hit you, you're sank. And the healers can't do anything about it because they can't heal through a one-shot. And this is why DPS ships are not always used when it comes to tier 2. People like surviving, so people like using snow builds, battle junk builds, whatever it may be. Whereas other people will use DPS ships, but they'll be sank left, right, and center, which just doesn't feel right. For a tank ship to be a tank, I think it needs much more health, because that's the whole point. It's a tank. It doesn't do much damage, but it does enough damage to get by. But the health that should be on these tank ships is definitely way too low, in my opinion, because still, say you haven't braced one of them sharpshooter hits, you could lose half of your health. Now, on your snow, if you've got it built like I have, half your health is 40k. So that little ship of a sharpshooter is just on 40k health. And let's say if there's two of them, you braced one, your brace is gone, right? And then you've been shot by the other, and half your health is gone. You then pop your repair kit. Oh, the first one has shot you again, so half your health is now gone again. And then the second one shot you, and you are sank. And there is absolutely nothing you can do about it, just because of how hard they hit. In my opinion, a tank, even if we miss the brace or the brace runs out, should be able to take more than 2 hits. I do agree that I think the health is a bit low. However, the sharpshooters do way too much damage, and they are way overtuned. Also, on top of that, the Lepest boss and the Lepest minions, way too overtuned. They need to be fixed ASAP. Lepest is the worst boss fight in the game, in my opinion. He's not fun. He's just annoying. His mortar is annoying. He's so tedious, and he is the boss fight that I just don't enjoy doing. Whether it's in tier 1, whether it's in tier 2, the poison hits way too hard, and I'll never change my stance on that until they fix it. Now, tier 2, I was doing a hostile takeover, and I was in tier 2 mode, and I had the Lepest minion spawn. Now, bear in mind, I was listening to music, I think I was eating a cookie, and I was just vibing out. And I was fine doing the hostile takeover. I was at like 70%. And then a Lepest minion spawned. 2 ticks of his poison when I was in my snow killed me. And I wasn't fast enough to get out of the poison, because no matter where I traveled, he was splashing poison constantly. That minigun of a mortar needs to be fixed. The poison damage 100% needs to be fixed. And in terms of all these other ships, I think they are in a good state. I can kill them, I can survive them. There's just certain ships that are definitely way overtuned. And I don't think people are having the best time when it comes to tier 2, simply because the variety isn't there. Everyone is just doing Mega Fort Houston. There needs to be more ways of getting your pieces of 8, your upgrade parts. Now, I know a lot of people will say you can go do the boss fight, you can go do Grand Fort. Yes, but they are the slower ways of getting your pieces of 8, which is why no one does it. Which is why in a previous video, I said that we should have a piece of 8 like weekend, every weekend, to where, okay, this boss fight drops 5k pieces of 8. Or this fort specifically, like Fort Premi, drops 5k pieces of 8, or something like that, something to add variety to the game. Now, I absolutely love this game. I've always enjoyed this game. It's starting to get a bit repetitive now, because we are just building the Helm Empire, and it is going very, very slow. And as you can see, I got forced into a cutscene, and I came out and I was dead. That is when I almost threw my controller, because I didn't go and collect that plunder. That plunder basically forced me into a cutscene, and yeah, while I was in the cutscene, I was still getting absolutely blasted, which shouldn't be a thing, by the way. once you enter a cutscene, whether it be crew attack or whether it be a plunder or whatever, I don't think you should take damage. Now, people might say that'll make crew attacks overpowered. Okay, fine. But if you've got the crew attack major furniture that basically heals you, you haven't healed at all. You've still lost health because during the middle of that cutscene, you've lost well over 8k health. So it kind of makes crew attacks completely useless. And the animations, when you are caught in a cutscene, you should not be taking damage. I think that is insanely cheap. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that, but that needs to be changed ASAP. I have never gotten so angry at this game before because I was forced into a cutscene. I did not activate. I didn't go pick up the plunder, and it got me killed. Before that, I was having a great time in my schooner. I was killing things quite easily. I was managing to survive everything thanks to the healers, MVPs, by the way. But when it comes to being forced into a cutscene, that is so cheap and it definitely shouldn't happen. Even if I choose to go into a cutscene like a crew attack, it definitely shouldn't be that I'm taking damage in the middle of the cutscene where I can't brace, I can't heal, I can't do anything other than watch the goddamn cutscene. However, these are some changes that I just think that should be made to tier 2. There definitely needs to be more variety in how we farm and what we farm. There definitely needs to be either a nerf to the enemy ships or a buff to some of the DPS ships, because the fact that sometimes you can just get one shot is just so cheap. I understand that the DPS ships are supposed to be glass cannons, but I've got a survivability furniture piece called beam supports on this ship, and it just feels like it does nothing, you know what I mean? So I think the DPS ships do need some love in tier 2, but let me know your thoughts down below. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new and you want to make your way back to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Also, guys, thank you for 3,000 subscribers. I never thought that we would actually get to this. It's never been an aim. However, we got there. So thank you so much for 3,000 subscribers. You guys are the best. I'll see you in the next one.